Hello people, I'm the Comic Book Gamer, and today I'm going to be talking about Nightwing, because it's been a bit too long since I've talked about him, and so I decided, you know what, it's time to talk about Nightwing again. The story I'm going to be covering today is a short 2-issue story that takes place in issues 8 and 9 of Nightwing's New 52 run, and this is called The Night of the Owls, and yeah, this was when all the Bat books were doing tie-ins to the Court of Owls storyline, which was the main Batman storyline at the time, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, to me what sort of killed the Nightwing book and made it spawn Grayson was the fact that the Nightwing book was like killed by tie-ins. Like, it had a tie-in for every Batman story. It was annoying. This was my favorite out of all of them, though. A lot of them weren't too great. Like the 0 Year one was pretty terrible, but this one was really good and the others weren't very great, and I wanted to see more original Nightwing stories instead of just a bunch of tie-ins to Batman books. But anyways, let's start off with the story. This story is written by Kyle Higgins and the art is done by Eddie Barrows. And so what happens in the story is Nightwing gets contacted by Alfred, and Alfred says, hey, the Court of Owls are sending all these different Talons. If you don't know who the Talons are assassins who work for this group called the Court of Owls. The Court of Owls is a secret group in Gotham that's very influential and do their like own little thing. Anyways, they sent a bunch of Talons after these sort of pillars of Gotham, these different people that are very influential on Gotham. So he sends a list of those names to Dick Grayson, and Nightwing's like, hey, I'm 5 minutes from this guy, I'll go after him. So he goes to protect the mayor. So he goes to City Hall to protect the mayor, and he gets there, and the Talon's already there, and he's killed some people. He has not killed the mayor yet. So Nightwing goes, he fights this guy, and this whole time you're getting this backstory of this dude that you think is this Talon, but you learn a bit later on it's not. But anyways, Nightwing and this guy are having this really cool fight. The Talons, in case you didn't know, they have healing factors, so it takes a lot to take them down, and Nightwing's like sort of going back and forth with this guy. He ends up stabbing him with a sword, and then taking his Eskrima stick and stabbing him straight through the eye with it. Like, it literally goes through his eye and pops out the back of his head, and that Eskrima stick is what stops him from healing, because he can't heal around the Eskrima stick, so the guy's just dead until that Eskrima stick gets pulled out. But then a whole bunch of knives go straight into Nightwing, and this guy comes out of nowhere and's like, you know, I'm gonna kill you. It's another Talon, and we learn that this origin story is about this Talon. This origin story takes place in the early 1900s. And what's going on in this origin story is there's this kid who's talking about his dad, who was a construction worker, and while working on one of the Gotham bridges one day, he died because the bridge collapsed and he died. And so it was just him and his mom, and they didn't really have much money, and so because they were poor, and his dad wasn't really anyone important who left a wealth behind or anything for them. And so the kid would go out at night and juggle because he was real good at it. He'd juggle baseballs to make money. His mom didn't like it, but he still did it, and he'd make some money doing it, and he had fun doing it. He enjoyed it. But one day this guy came and said, hey, I've been watching you. You're really good with those baseballs and stuff. And he even saw this guy who stole a purse from someone. The kid took the baseball and chucked it straight at his head, like bullseye. And so the guy from Haley Circus comes on and is like, hey, how would you like to be a part of the circus? You know, you can make some money, travel the world. It'd be a lot of fun, and you got talent for it. And so they go get permission from his mom to take him, and he's off onto the Haley Circus. And while he's there at the circus, he transfers from baseballs to knives, and he starts throwing knives. He's really good at it, and while he's on the circus, he falls in love with this girl, and they fall in love and everything. She gets pregnant, and then when he goes to meet her dad, because he had never met her dad, it turns out he's this really rich guy, and he is mad that she's with this guy from Haley Circus, because he's a lowlife. You know, he's this poor guy. He's not a rich person, and so she's associating herself with this guy that's you know, a poor person, and he just, like, her dad just does not like that. And so she's like, you gotta choose. Do you want your wealth here, your fortune that you're gonna get from me, or do you want to marry him and just go off and be poor? And so she chooses the money, and that pretty much devastates him. His name's William Cobb, by the way. I forgot to mention that. But anyways, that devastates him. And so they arrange a marriage to, like, her second cousin. Her dad arranges a marriage to her second cousin to cover up the whole pregnancy thing. And so she has William Cobb's kid, but everyone thinks it's the other guy's kid. And so he gets really mad about all that's going on. Then a guy from Haley Circus approaches him and is just like, hey, you want to actually be important to Gotham instead of just being some random circus guy? And so he recruits him to be a part of the Court of Owls. He goes through a bunch of training and stuff, and he becomes one of the the Talons, and he just, like, you know, starts killing people and everything, because that's what the Talons do. They kill a bunch of people to change stuff in Gotham. And so yeah, he's a Talon now, and he goes and he kidnaps his actual son. He goes and kidnaps him. He takes him to the Court of Owls and says he takes him to Haley Circus first and says, here, raise him as the Gray Son of Gotham. Now, this story had me. I liked it. I was enjoying it until it went to that. I thought it was stupid. I heard, like, that's how he got the last name Grayson, was he's the Gray Son of Gotham. I thought that was retarded. I hated how they did that, but up until that point, the story had me. Then that happened. But yeah. Anyways, moving on. It's back to the modern day fight. Dick Grayson's fighting this guy, and this guy, by the way, is the same Talon that Batman fought at the beginning of the Court of Owls, because he is the first Talon that was woken up, because all the Talons were sort of put to sleep until they needed him again, and then they'd wake him up, and because they're sort of like zombie type dudes. And anyways, so he's the best Talon. That's why he's woken up first. That's why he fought Batman and everything. He's fighting Dick Grayson, and it's not going so well because Dick Grayson obviously had all those knives in his chest, so he's getting the crap beaten out of him. He's getting some good hits on the other guy. Like, he dropped him straight from a building onto a car, broke like every bone in his body, but he just regenerates all of it. And so Nightwing tries to make his way down to the subway station. He does, and then he starts bleeding out, and he's been bleeding out, but since he lost so much blood, he loses consciousness. The other guy drags him, tells him a bit more of a story that I've already told you, and then because he's talking to him and he's telling him that, hey, you were meant to be a Talon, but you escaped that fate. That's not how it's done. You're supposed to be a Talon. You're raised in Haley Circus. You're Grayson. You are of my lineage. You were supposed to be a Talon. You're a disgrace now. And so he's telling him all that, and then Nightwing wakes up, and he's like, you know, there's a reason I brought you down here. And he tells him how the cables like have liquid nitrogen inside of them, and so he busts those open because cooling, extreme cold prevents the Talons from healing. That's what Batman did to William Cobb earlier when he had him captured in the Batcave. He pumped him full of cooling stuff to stop his healing factor, and so when he hits those lines, all this liquid nitrogen comes down and freezes him, and it stops his healing factor, and so he's done, and Nightwing defeats him, and that is where the issue ends. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I just wanted to talk about Nightwing a bit. I really enjoyed these two issues when I first read them, and rereading them, I really enjoyed them still. I just thought it was stupid how they did that in New 52, how they're like, you know, we need to give him a reason for his name being Grayson. It can't just be Grayson. We gotta have him be the Gray Son of Gotham. I thought that was stupid. The fight's really good. The art is done by Eddie Barrow, so of course it's good. The art's really great, and I thought it was awesome. Like, the fight's really cool, how it all goes down, and it was a very well done fight. And yeah, like, there's a lot of blood and stuff, and it's cool to see Nightwing just being able to stab people and stuff, because, you know, you normally can't do that, but these guys can heal. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a like.